Okay, so this is very basic and it's something that personal trainers mess up as much as you guys in the gym training yourselves. I see it all day. I'm surrounded by trainers and it's 90% of trainers do this. They start sacrificing technique to get a number. Sometimes it's because they want to make someone feel good. And I think that's okay sometimes, cheap reps, etc. But if you find yourself, this is a trainer, I'm talking to you, as well as you guys out in the gym by yourselves as well. If you find yourself not doing the same technique as you do in your warm-up set, so to use a bench press, my shoulders are back, I drive my shoulder blades into the bench to create the tension, my abs are tight, I'm coming all the way through, the bar is touching my chest or getting very close depending on the length of my arm. This is what I'm doing in my warm-up set. If I pile the weight on and I start doing 100 kilos and the set becomes here instead of here, I am no longer doing the same exercise anymore. For me, I'm no longer doing a bench press, I'm doing half reps. So I shouldn't call it a bench press. I either drop the weight and continue to go through full range of motion, or I do less reps. But I do not call this a bench press. This goes for most of the exercises that really kill me when you go into a gym, and again, what other trainers do is pull-ups, push-ups, squats, all the most basic rep exercises get shortened and changed because someone wants to achieve something. We don't do that in other ways in life, but in the gym, we think it's okay to cheat. The problem with cheating is, one, you're not as strong as you think you are. Two, you create imbalances. For instance, again, we'll use the bench press analogy because it's easy. If I'm coming all the way through, I'm stretching my chest. And as someone that works in the city, like most people will do working in an urban environment, we sit down too much, which means we are all too tight through the front. I've never had a guy come through where they're not slightly curved forward. So what I do not want to do is shorten these muscles. That's the number one. I do not shorten these muscles because that's going to cause me problems postural way. So I come all the way down. I'm stretching. The reason I'm doing this exercise is to get stronger, because that's why I'm lifting weights, yes, but also it's to improve my posture. So for a lot of people, they don't like stretching. That includes me. I find it quite boring. I need to do more, but I get a lot of my stretch through the exercises. So as I do a bench press, I come all the way through so I feel my chest stretch. If I get into the habit of shortening reps to achieve the weight that I want to say, maybe I lifted 100 when I was 20. For instance, I do this, 100 is my number. I want to bench press 100 forever. I could get to the point where I could actually struggle to bench anymore. So I start lying to myself and doing half reps to get 100. You've got to be truthful with yourself, because if I do these shortened reps, every rep I do, I'm shortening this muscle. I'm getting strong in the top part and I'm getting weaker in the bottom part. So at the moment I feel good because I'm benching 100 kilos. I get to stand up and give it all of this. But what is really happening is I am setting up Tim when he's 50 for a torn shoulder for no reason. Tim when he's 50 might do some push-ups and I'll rip my shoulder because when I was 44, I got in the habit of shortening my reps. You see it all the time. It's, for a trainer, it's negligent. And for someone outside, you're really setting yourself up in a bad way as well. Look at what you're doing. Throw the ego, check the ego at the door, go through the full range of motion. This is boring, but it's so important. And often it's the small details that people leave out that are everything. This is why you can look at a program of 5 sets of this and 5 sets of this, do it and find it easy, versus you come to someone like myself, we've got a stopwatch, use the exact breaks, you go through full range of motion, and suddenly you find yourself lifting less weight, but you're more out of breath, you get more soreness, you start improving your flexibility and you get stronger even though you're doing the same thing. So execution is everything. A good trainer and a good trainee yourself needs to think about execution. You don't get to shorten reps because you want to shorten reps. I'm sorry. If squat is a terrible one, and pull-ups as well. You always see people do pull-ups to here. For me, if a chin is not over the bar, it's not a pull-up. So when you see people pulling up here, and also full stretch at the lats, because we're trying to strengthen and we're trying to improve the function of our muscle. The more we shorten reps, because I want to look like I'm doing 10 reps, even though I can only do 6 all the way up, all the way down. These 6s, I'm improving my function. I'm improving every part of the movement through my shoulder and my lats. So I'm getting a lot of extra benefits. I'm working my core and everything as well. And it's only 6 reps. So on paper, I did 6 reps. This other guy next to me cracked out 10. These are the standard gym pull-ups you see. This is not a pull-up, it's actually a joke, like a little pulse. But you need the full stretch. What I'm doing here is tightening up the lats, which come around here, and again, they will make my posture worse, and they will set up Tim in the future to randomly rip my shoulder for no reason. And what we do when we get over 40 is we do not get injured. Getting injured, we don't get because it takes longer. It takes longer to recover. It starts from 30. When you're 20, it's fine. You tear or strain something, you do that and it goes away. But anyone who's over 40 will know when you get injured now, it drags on. And the problem is when injuries drag on is you start to atrophy, you start to lose muscle and you become tighter, you lose form. Psychologically, you become lower, you become more depressed as well. You don't feel as good about your body. It's harder to get back on the horse and start training again. So something as small as a torn shoulder or strained muscle can end with you not training for years, which means added body fat, lower muscle, weaker bones, weaker joints. And if you hurt yourself, it takes longer and it's harder to get back in. That's why we all know someone, and we might be that someone that used to be in great shape. Think about if you were in good shape and you're not anymore, it will be down to the same thing. At some point, you got sick, you got injured, you had a little strain, something negative happened, and you went, oh, I'll have a couple of weeks off the gym. A couple of weeks turns into months, a couple of months turns into years, and those years turned into 10, 20% body fat. That body fat turns into heart disease, diabetes, all sorts of problems that we don't want. So we need to get ahead. And it starts with something so small. How have I got from doing a pull-up to having diabetes? But that's how it goes. We need to look at the whole picture. We stretch and strengthen. We want to become a better functional person. We don't want to ego rep. Ego reps is the end of most people when they lift.